Hello everyone, happy September. Welcome to this month's video of life and spiritual coaching with the theme based on religion and spirituality and what it means for you. So we talk about many different things in life. We conversate about world issues, local things, what's going on in each person's life, your friends, family, and so forth. The two of the most important things for some people, but two of the most crazy things to talk about: religion and politics. So I'm only going to touch on one of those today. I don't want to touch the other one. Because yes, it can be a very sensitive subject for some people, and especially where we're at right now with an election this year, I can only imagine the conversations that people are having, and it's a really tough time. So maybe right now what we need is a little bit of that spirituality to help us get through that political thing that we're going through. Anywho, on to the religious aspect. So I'm sure many of you realize and have grown up with a specific type of religion. And I know myself included, I was raised Catholic and didn't go to church a lot. Did go to CCD classes, did the catechism thing. I did my baptism, of course, and my first communion and confirmation. And I remember my grandparents being very, very devout Catholics. And they were at Mass every Sunday. My grandfather was part of the church very spiritually. He was one of the readers during the Masses, involved in all kinds of things, helping the church out with whatever he could. My grandmother, same thing. She part of the ladies guild, and she was part of this guild and that guild, and whatever it was. Both of them very, very, very devout Catholics. And, that was fine. And at that time in my life, when I was very young, of course, that made sense. You were supposed to have a religion, and you were supposed to follow the religion that your parents raised you for. But when I was little, and you're talking, I was born in the late 60s, and going into the 70s, the church, the Catholic Church anyway, still had a lot of rules and regulations against divorce, having children while you weren't married. And if you were married by the justice of the peace, it wasn't considered a real marriage because it wasn't witnessed by the church or done by the church. So there was a lot of stuff going on. And, back then I remember as a kid just starting to really question a lot of the rules and the regulations. And I remember saying, this doesn't seem right. I get forced to go to church, and I get forced to do my first communion and all these other things, and my parents don't go to church. Well, it's my grandparents, I think, who really insisted that my sister and I go to church, that we become devout Catholics and be raised the right way. And it never sat well with me. It really didn't. And by all means, I'm going to say this right now. If I say anything, I hope I don't offend anybody. And again, this is open discussion, and I'm just going to talk about a lot of different things, and you may agree with some of it, and you may not, and that is perfectly fine, okay? But anything I talk about is probably mostly about myself, and what I went through and what I do know, okay? So I can remember as a child, having discussions about the church and this, that, and the other. And I remember being at my grandmother's. It was either one of those Sunday dinners or maybe it was Thanksgiving or something. I don't really remember what the day was, but I remember the conversation. And when I was a kid, you weren't allowed to wear jeans in church. You always had to dress nice. If you were a girl, you had to sit proper like a lady, things like that. And I remember going, why so many rules? Why so many regulations? I thought God loved everybody no matter what, And during this one dinner, I remember I asked my grandmother, I says, you guys talk about church all the time and how, God is all about loving all of his people and whatnot. But I says, What about the poor guy who doesn't have any money? What if he was to show up at church wearing a barrel with suspenders? Because back then, the cartoons, you would see that if somebody was poor, the cartoon would represent the poor person with a barrel wrapped, like a wine barrel wrapped around him with suspenders. That would be their covering. And I says, what if somebody showed up to church like that? And my grandmother, oh my God, her eyes got huge and she was totally disgusted. She goes, oh, that's horrible. Person would never be allowed in church like that. And I was like, whoa. Now here I am. I'm still a kid, okay? I'm thinking between the ages of 8 and 10 maybe. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute. Now that's when I started questioning the religion for myself. And I'm like, okay, well, if God is all loving and the church is open to everybody, then why would you shun this poor person who has no clothes? I mean, he's covered. So why couldn't he go and be with God like the rest of us? And that was just a big old no-no. And I was like, I was shut down in a heartbeat. I was like, wow. And that hit me. It really hit me. I said, that's not right. That's not right. No. And since then, I've always seemed to have had an issue with the church. And, well, that's just me. Fast forward to, I had my son, and I had twin girls 17 months later. And I remember getting the girls baptized because my husband at the time wanted that. And I was like, okay, fine. So my son had been baptized as well, but 17 months later I have the twins, and within a couple of months we get them baptized. And I remember sitting in church, and of course you have to sit through a mass. And once mass was over, that's when the baptism was going to happen. And mind you, I really haven't gone to church all these years. This was my second marriage. My first marriage, I got married in a church because at that time I still thought this was the way to do it because it's the right thing to do. I'm a Catholic, so I got to get married in a church and the whole thing. Only to get divorced and marry my second husband, which the church tried to get me to annul my first marriage. I'm like, I was married for 10 years. Kind of hard to annul that. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Well, for $500, we can annul it and look the other way so you can get married in the church again. I'm going, yeah, that's not hitting me well either. So, mind you, I hadn't been to church in years. So I start going to church so my kids can get baptized. So like I said, my son was baptized. My girls are going to get baptized. So we're all in church. My family's there. His family's there. And my son didn't talk yet. And he was a very late talker. And so he kind of babbled a little bit. Not a problem. He was really good sitting there. He was very well-behaved, I guess you could say. And so I just said to him, I say, look, the man is talking. I said, let's listen to what he's saying. And all of a sudden I heard the priest say, look, if you're going to make a big disruption, you need to go. And I was like, wow, who's he throwing out of church? And I look up and he's pointing at me. And I was like, huh? What? And he's like, your son's just making too much noise. My people can't hear me. So you'll have to go. And I was beside myself, really beside myself. I had been to church many times over the years on and off, and there's always been a baby crying or a little child making talk or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And, you just get past it. It's not a big deal. He was not, and I'm not going to say he was a good kid just to, make my kid look good. No, he was actually very good. He was quiet. Like I said, he didn't talk until he was like over 3 years old. So whatever noises he was making at 20 months old was a small babble. That was it. And he threw us out of church because his people could not hear him. I was like, wow. So mind you, I went and sat downstairs below the church with my sister-in-law, who was a devout Catholic and furious, and just waited for him to finish mass, went upstairs. He goes, oh, I hope you understand. I'm like, yep, can we get this done? And that was the end of it. I got them baptized and we were out of there, and I never went back. My husband at the time still insisted that the kids go to church and they go to catechism, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. My kids had the same feelings I did. You know, it had nothing to do with anything I told them. They got their own thought process on their own. They were never comfortable every time they went to church. They were never comfortable every time they went to catechism. Nothing made sense to them. They questioned everything. But again, like the good wife, I pushed them. No, you gotta go, you gotta go. Once you make your confirmation, then you can choose what you want to do with it. And their dad and I split up, and they had already put 6 years in, and I said, look, how do you want to go back? And they were like, no, we don't like this, we don't agree with it, doesn't make sense to us, whatever it is. I said, then you don't have to go. And I never pushed them to do it. I allowed them to make their own choices. I allowed them to pick what makes sense to them, and I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with that for anyone who has a belief system. You believe whatever it is you want to believe, and that's more of what we're going to get into talking about. So my next strike was we tried to do a retreat. Well, not try, we did. Dora and I did a retreat many years ago, and we figured it's our first one. Let's pick a place that's not too far away, and it was at a camp not too far from Westport. And on the website, it says open to all, hold your retreats here, sleeping arrangements, what's on the grounds, what you can use, what they have, to accommodate us. And I'm like, well, this sounds pretty good. If we can get a small group together, let's do a retreat. So we had 9 people signed up. I was so excited. I'm like, wow, for our first one, 9 people signed up. That's good. Okay. We're set to go. We made a deposit, and 1 week before we were meant to be there, the receptionist called and said, I'm so sorry, but somebody called the bishop and said that you're a Reiki person and he doesn't want you there. Wow. Okay. Fine. I won't do Reiki. We'll just stick with the journaling and the meditation, the nature walks, that kind of thing, yoga. No, we asked him. He said no. Okay, so much for open to all, right? Okay, fine. I don't need you. I started calling all over the place because now I've got there's 9 of us all paid up. Everybody's paid, everybody's ready to go. So I'm like, let's just find a place. And through internet searches, and one of the clients that was going told me about this place, and I called up and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what just happened to us. Is there any way you have room? And she goes, how many people do you have? And I said, 9. She goes, hold on. She comes back. She goes, we have exactly 9 beds left. I was like, wow, thank you. So it worked out for us. But then even, I used to do Reiki at a Catholic hospital nearby. And I had done it for 6 years. And then all of a sudden the church comes out with this whole thing that Reiki is no good, and Reiki is done by people who work for the devil, and it just went on and on and on. Like, we don't have any Reiki in any of our hospitals, our healthcare centers, our schools, none of that. And I'm going, they do know I've been here for 6 years, right? Didn't matter. So needless to say, that kind of fell apart. So I've got my issues with the Catholic Church. That's just me. Because no matter everything that looked like it came from light or came from love got shut down. It really did. And I've seen a lot more things over the years that just kind of make me shake my head and go, really? I don't get it. But anyway, so today I consider myself a spiritual person. I do have belief systems in certain Catholic aspects. I believe in Jesus because he was a man who lived on this earth, who did laying of hands, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's what Reiki is. I basically lay hands on people and send energy through. Energy does what it's supposed to do. I'm not healing them. The energy is healing them. I believe in Mother Mary because she was Jesus's mother. You know, these are things that I believe in, and I believe that these two people were such devout, loving, caring, compassionate people that whatever they did through their hearts and not through rules and regulations of controlled religion. That's my belief. I believe in angels. I believe in ascended masters, meaning ascended masters are Jesus, Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, your archangels like Archangel Michael or Saint Michael in some traditions, Archangel Raphael, Gabriel, so on and so forth. You know, there's so many different types of people and angels that are considered ascended masters. And these, to me, are people that have lived a life on this earth and have been through this whole spiritual experience, and that once they passed over, they still made it a point to help those in need through energy, through spiritual connection, through whatever. So that's kind of where I stand. For me, being spiritual means being kind, being loving, having compassion, having empathy, helping when you can help. Those things for me make up my spirituality. Okay? There's different religions out there. There's so many. I was researching religion because, I mean, I didn't go to college for religion or anything like that. I didn't take up theology. So, you know, don't quote me on every little thing. But just in my own personal research, they were saying that there's over 4,000 religions. Now, of course, these can be religions that are, I don't know, brought together by a group of people, and they create this group and they call the group a religion. Okay? But you have your typicals, and I'll read some of them. Of course, Christianity. Okay? The belief of Jesus. Okay? There's Islam. All right, you have Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Jehovah's Witness, spiritualism, okay, Taoism, sorry, folk religions, tongue twisters here, and so on and so on and so on. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. But you can also call, what do you call it? Oh my goodness, I'm having a blank for a moment here. Pagans have a religion. Voodoo is a religion. It's not black magic, okay? Right away, that's where everybody goes. Why? Because that's what you've been told, right? That's what you've been told. Voodoo. Oh my God. You know, the voodoo doll. Hit it with pins and it'll hurt the person you made the doll for. I mean, with everything that's out there, there's good and bad, okay? So, you know, it's just like witches. You hear the word witches and right away you think, you know, green skin, black hat, and it's Halloween. It's like, no. You know, true witches honor the earth. Wiccans honor the earth. They honor the animals, the air, the wind, all, you know, the water, you name it, the fire. That is Wiccan. True Wiccans honor the earth. That's really what it's about. Spiritual people like myself, okay, we honor the heart, the, you know, the spirituality, the love, the compassion, you know, the kindness, that kind of thing. Myself, of course, many of you know I read angel cards. I like oracle cards better than tarot cards, but that's just my choice. Now, tarot cards are not a bad thing, okay? Tarot cards, depending on who reads them, depends on how bad they are. And what I mean by that is I've heard of people who read tarot cards and they'll read them in a haunted house with no protection for themselves, with all intentions of connecting to whatever spiritual being is flying around in there, okay? Well, first of all, if you're going to be open to connecting with any spiritual being, you could be connecting with God knows what. Any bad, negative, dark energy. Other people with tarot cards, they read from light, they read from love, they read from a place of love and protection from God, angels, whatever. So there's good and bad with everything. So yes, voodooism is a real religion, and it's got nothing to do with black magic. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's so many religions. So now think of it this way, because many religions were like, well, my way is the right way. My way is the truth. You know, my way is, it's like, wait a minute. If all 4,000 religions are saying that theirs is the right one, truly then which one is the right one? So I've brought this up before to many people, and I'm saying, okay, we'll go with the 4,000 religions, okay? No matter what they are, from the smallest to the biggest, okay? Every single religion is organized, which means there's rules, there's regulations, you have to believe what they believe, and there's no turning from that. So now if I say my religion is right, you say your religion is right, then who's really right? Maybe we both are. Or maybe we're both wrong. Maybe all 4,000 religions are wrong. Or maybe all 4,000 are right. So now you're probably saying, well, how can they all be wrong or they all be right? Well, because it's like this. Think about it. If every religion was to live their religion in a way that was positive and uplifting and kind and caring and loving, if they did all this from their heart, no matter what the rules were, wouldn't that be right? To me, that's what it's really all about. I think when somebody finds a religion that works for them and makes them feel good, then that's what matters. But I still think people need to have an open mind, because I have many clients who come in who are religious. They're open to what I do as far as readings go, or Reiki or things like that, but still have that very strong church connection. And that's fine. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. You're allowed to believe whatever you want, but they do have an open mind enough that they can blend other aspects of life into their religious beliefs. So, because some people say to me, oh, well, I really believe in getting my cards read, but the church said that's a bad thing. So I'm like, does anything bad happen when you get your cards read? And they're like, well, no. Okay, then. What's wrong with having your cards read? If you go back to the ancient civilizations, before religions took over, kings and queens would look to their wizards or witches or whatever they call them. There was many different forms and names for it. They would look to them for guidance. What do I do? Where do we go? Should we fight a war? Will we win the war? So on and so forth. And this was before religion. In my own opinion, religions were formed hundreds of thousands of years ago. Why? To control the population. Lots of scare tactics, meaning if you don't believe what we believe, you'll be executed. Now you're talking thousands of years ago, right? If you don't believe what we believe, then you must be a witch. You must be a traitor. You must be this, you must be that. And that's when we started having controlling religions coming up. Okay? And then, of course, you still had your kings and your queens, so now it was a competition between the politics and the religion. And you had all that going at the same time. So now, of course, anybody who wanted to be in control started to create more religion. So whose religion is right? Whoever was holding the control. That's who thought they were right. Okay? So it's got a big, big background. And mind you, when it comes to what you feel as far as religion goes, do your research. Do your research. Like I said, I'm not a theologian, okay? I didn't go to college for theology. I Googled, okay? I Googled different religions and was looking them up. I know some of them, of course, because, I mean, I'm going to be 57 soon. I've heard a lot of things. But I also look it up to see what is what and what else is out there, so on and so forth. So, are you religious or are you spiritual? To me, spirituality is a blend of whatever sits well within my soul. So like myself, happiness, love, compassion, empathy. Yes, I believe in Jesus. Yes, I believe in God. To me, there's a bigger source out there than all of us. So do you want to call it God? Do you want to call it universe? Do you want to call it creator? Doesn't matter. Every religion also has their own thought process on what God is. You have God, you have creator, you have universe, you have Allah, you have, I don't know, all the other religions had their name as well too. What if it's just all the same thing, just called a different name? Think about that. That there's a lot involved in it. And, if you go to an organized religious place and something doesn't sit well with you, then push it aside. Push it aside. My ultimate favorite, Sylvia Browne, used to say, because she was agnostic, and she would say, I'm going to say whatever I have to say. You take what you want, throw the rest away. If it doesn't sit with you, throw it away. Because all you're meant to do is believe whatever you believe, whatever makes you feel good. And so that's what has to happen. So now another question that comes into mind with the whole religious thing is, now we've been programmed, okay? Like I said, from an early age, I was getting pushed to go to church and catechism, confirmation, and all those things. And even though I thought differently and I felt differently, like, to me, walking into church was like, oh, it was such work for me. But over the years, I've learned to let go very easily. But I've had people ask me, like, oh my God, I don't believe in that anymore. But every time I try to move into a more spiritual part of my life, all I get is that flashback of being Catholic. I'll say that because to me, that's the biggest thing that people have said to me. So I can't, vouch for anything else other than the Catholic thing. Like, especially in this area, I mean, it's got to be probably like 80% Catholic. People say, well, yeah, but then all I hear is my mother's voice in my head, like, you're supposed to go to church. What would God say? You don't want to go to hell, do you? And it's like, those were the things that were drilled into people's heads to make them go to church. And to me, that's where that word organized religion comes in. We're in control. We're going to tell you what to believe. We're going to tell you what to do. And we're going to tell you when you're going to do it. And to me, that's just not, just like the whole, like, you can't talk to God unless you talk to him in church. And it's like, that never made sense to me. You're telling me God's everywhere with everyone at every given minute, but I can't talk to him unless I'm standing in your building. That never sat well with me. And till this day, if I need to talk to God, the creator, the universe, whatever, I'm right here and I start talking. I talk, I meditate, I pray, however you want to look at it. It's there. So a lot of people are stuck on this whole old belief system, okay? And of course, in today's generation, it's becoming even harder for some people, because today we're very open about the LGBTQ plus community, okay? We're very open about a lot of different things, and the church isn't. And of course, if you're raised in a way that, this is religion, this is what you do, this is, and I know people personally who are gay, who have had many issues with the church, who have been put in camps to try to change who they are. We're going to convert you back to an actual boy. You know what I mean? And it's just like, why can't we be loved just for who we are? Take the labels off of everything. Take off the boy, the girl, the man, the woman, the gay, the straight, the lesbian, the whatever. What are we? We are all human beings. That's who we are. We are all human beings. Right? So why are we all treated so differently? Love the person for the person. Don't love the person for their it's going to sound weird. Just because of their looks, just because of their labels, just because of whatever. We are all human beings. I saw this video one time where everybody had the chance to stand behind a screen, and it was like an X-ray. And it showed 2 men, 2 women, a woman and a man, 2 children, a child and its father, a child and his mother. And you know what? They all looked exactly the same. Because underneath all of this is nothing more than a skeleton. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. We are all human beings. Let's start treating each other like human beings. Let go of the stigma. Let go of the doubt. Let go of the worry. Let go of the fear. And trust your own heart and your own mind, and allow yourself to believe what you want to believe. And what everybody else thinks of you is none of your business. Truly, truly, it's none of your business. And you know what? If somebody doesn't like it, oh well. Who has to live your life? Only you. Nobody has to live your life but you. So live it the way you want to live it. I had people, oh my God, over the years come in for card readings. These are angel cards, right? Because if my mom knew, this is a grown woman telling me, if my mom knew I was here, she'd be so mad. And I'm like, seriously? Okay. And I get it. Every religion has their rules. They all have their belief systems. But if you feel yourself, feel that this doesn't sit with me. I don't believe that. I believe this. I'm open to that, but not that. That is okay. That is okay. You know, to me, it's like, to make it in simple terms, if you went to a buffet, okay, and I know you can't really compare food to religion, but if you went to a buffet and there was 100 different things on the table that you could pick from, what are you going to do? If somebody says take one of everything, and you're like, well, I don't want to eat that. I don't like that. Do you take it? No. You're not going to waste it. You're not going to eat it. Just leave it be. It's kind of like that. So you know what? I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Mother Mary. I do. I believe what they stood for. I believe there's probably more to the story than we were ever told. But you know what? I don't believe in the rules. I don't believe in regulations. I don't believe in making me do something because you said I can do it or I can't do it or whatever the story is. You know, it's... And I think a lot of religions make up the rules as they go along, you know, and forgive me, but I mean, again, I'm going to pick on the Catholics because that's who I was at one point. And coming from that, I can tell you the experiences I've dealt with that. You know, I mean, for example, one of their rules is, you know, it's Lent. No eating meat on Fridays. Okay. So I'm allergic to fish. So now I'm really struggling, and I have a lot of food allergies, so I'm really struggling to figure out what I'm going to eat. And at one point, I'm like, you know what? I don't think God's going to put me to hell because I had meat on Friday. And I started eating what I wanted. And then, as time went by, there was one year, many, many years ago, where St. Patrick's Day landed on a Friday in Lent. And the rules of the church are, oh, you're going to go to hell for eating meat on Friday. You can't eat meat on Friday, right? Okay. St. Patrick's Day comes around. Oh, well, it's St. Patrick's Day. We're going to let you eat your corned beef and cabbage. It's okay. God will forgive you. Oh, because it's St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so all those people that went to hell previously, can they come back? Or do they have to stay there? Because they ate meat on Friday. Right? Why do rules only apply when they want them to apply? So again, it's be religious. If that's what you want, by all means do it. But pick and choose what feels right for you. If it doesn't feel right, don't go with it. Don't go with it. And don't argue with people about it either. Because that's just senseless. Because, I recently had a client come in and she's been going through some stuff and she's kind of gotten herself back into finding her spiritual self. And she actually found a church. And she's like, you know what? I really feel like I need to be here in this moment. And that's okay. I've had those moments where I've gone to a church and just had this sensation happen over me. Like, wow, I needed to be here today. Doesn't mean I needed to be there permanently. It just means in that moment I needed to be there. And she found this place and she connected with somebody and, oh yeah, you're welcome to the church, blah, blah, blah. And then she started talking about other things, like she loves angels just like I do, and she loves her oracle angel cards, and she has crystals and different things like that. And the woman was like, oh no, you can't bring that here. Okay, 5 seconds ago, you thought she was fine. You know what I mean? Why all of a sudden is she not fine? And this is what I mean. It's like, instead of just welcoming someone into your home, so to say, and say, hey, come on in. You can pray with us. We'll pray with you. No, now you're going to judge every little thing that person does. And it's like, that's not what church is about. That's not what religion is about. As far as I'm concerned, religion is about finding that common spiritual peace that everybody can connect with. It's like people make fun of when, yoga people and gurus and spiritual people like namaste, you know what I mean? My inner light welcomes your inner light. Well, why can't religion be like that? I'm here for you. We're here for each other. We can pray, we can talk, whatever you want to do. It's about kindness. At least that's what I believe it should be. It should not be a business. It should not be, oh my God, so controlled, so organized. I don't know. It's a lot of my own opinions. And like I said, the Catholic religion is about the only one I can really comment on because I've never had any other religion besides that, and being now spiritual. Again, you can research all the different religions out there. I know there's many churches. My stepdaughter, for one, goes to, I believe it's a Unitarian church, and they welcome everybody. And they don't say boo about a thing. It's about love, it's about companionship, it's about being there for one another, it's about kindness, and everybody's welcome. Not like some people who say everybody's welcome, and then when you show up, they throw you out. Everybody is welcome. So what does religion mean for you? Think about that. Do you need to make some changes? Do you want to let some things go? I'm here to tell you, I think it's okay. I really do. It's okay. If it's not working for you, then don't let it work for you. Toss it aside. As Sylvia Browne said, take what you want, leave the rest behind. Because to me, religion, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, should be a connection between you and Source or God, universe, whatever, okay? Everybody has their own word, verbiage, whatever, of what we're connected to, okay? Sometimes just to make it easier, I say God. It can be whatever you want it to be. So think about those different things. Think about what it means for you. But be open to other people's opinions. to their understanding, their beliefs. You know, I think God has put us all on this earth to be happy, to be kind, to spread love. And I think that's all we're supposed to do. I don't think we need to fight over who's right, who's wrong, whose religion is better than the others, whose is right, whose is, I don't know. There's just so much, I mean, there's been tension across the world, through countries, through counties, through, oh my God, how many wars have there been because of religion? Is it worth fighting over? No. You believe what fits you, I'll believe what fits me, and we'll agree to disagree and still love one another. That's what makes it so hard, though, sometimes. This is where you get the whole never talk about religion or politics, right? Because sometimes some people can't do that. You do you. You do what is best for you, because only you can live your life. Nobody can live it for you. So whatever sits well with you, that's what I want for you. And this is what I tell every client I have. Because they'll say, oh, I really love having Reiki done and so on and so forth, you know, but I go to church, so I hope it's okay. I'm like, of course it's okay. Of course it's okay. I haven't met a person yet who's been struck down by lightning for having their cards read or getting a Reiki session. You know, I think we can blend all these things together. You know, it's like medical care. Do I think all of medical care is great? No, not really. But you know what? I'm not going to sit here and tell you the only option is alternative care. I think it can be either or a blend of both. I've had many different people come in from surgeries or illnesses or disease or whatever and go for their medical care and still come here and get Reiki. Right? It's a blend of everything. As long as everybody's working together to help this person feel better, that's what matters. That's what matters. So, I want you to really take some time and think about what spirituality means to you. Because, I mean, even spirituality has a long range. When you talk about the spectrum for autism, well, spirituality has a bigger spectrum, I swear to God. Anywhere from, yeah, I believe there's something, but I don't know what, to, oh my God, the extreme, okay? It's just like religion. There's little tiny religions that have their own little clique of beliefs and boof, and then you have these humongous religions, you know, like Catholic and Scientology and, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses, and, you know, there's many huge organizations in religion. But spirituality has the same, you know? Again, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. That's why I say, think about it. Maybe we're all right, or maybe we're all wrong. I think the only thing that matters is love. Truly. Love. You know, was it the Beatles? Love is the answer? I don't know. I was only a baby when the Beatles were singing, so I don't know. All I can say is I know what I do for myself. And if you have been hurt by religious beliefs, if you have religious trauma, I know I have a friend who specifically works with people with religious trauma. You know, start thinking about where you want to be and what you want to believe and all of that. That religious trauma, learn to let it go. Learn to let it go. You know, and religious trauma could be just the rules and the regulations being forced down your throat, the control, the threats, the fear, you know, and to me, using fear to make somebody abide by your ways is not a way to do things. And that can traumatize people. And of course, we all know the church has traumatized people in other ways. So, you know, and even, you know, your LGBTQ community, they've been traumatized by certain religious communities, you know, so there's a lot of trauma out there, mental and emotional trauma, and in some cases, physical trauma. So do what you have to do to help get rid of that trauma. Remember, what you feel that is right for you is right for you. And if you don't know what that is, then, start searching. Search through counseling or journaling or reading or confiding in somebody or, whatever you need to do to find what works for you. But don't let religious trauma sit within you for the rest of your life. Don't. Get the help you need. Whether it's through a coach, a counselor, whatever it is, Reiki, okay? Or through your own ways of maybe meditation or journaling or, like I said, and many different ways that you can work on this. But definitely start really thinking, because I know a lot of people question me about, well, I don't know if I should go to church or if I should just, do my own spiritual thing. I don't know what's the right thing to do. And I said, the only one who can figure that out is you. And the only way you're going to figure it out is figure out what feels right to you. So what feels right? Once you figure out what feels right, that's what you have to go with. And if you have any core attachments or belief system attachments or trauma attachments, you gotta cut those attachments. And you'll see. You'll find your place. And you never know, that place could be smack dab between the two. Religious and spiritual. Somewhere right here in the middle is where you connect. But you have to figure that out. Tonight I just talked to you about a lot of my own experiences, and why I believe what I believe. I didn't say it to make you not believe in the Catholic Church, because if that's what you believe in, then God bless you. God bless you. You know what I mean? I get it. I remember having a client at the hospital. I worked with this woman every week for 4 months. Reiki every week while she went through her chemotherapy. And one day as I walked in, she gave me the whole whoa stop sign. And I went, oh, here we go. What's the matter? She goes, tell me what it is again that you're doing. And I says, well, I've been seeing you for 4 months already. I said, I told you, I'm doing Reiki. I said, I just do hand placements, sending you some good energies to help you relax. Because obviously, people going through cancer, I don't know what Reiki can do for them. But I know for the majority of the people I did see, they just felt so much less stressed, more relaxed, and were happy to have company for a few minutes. And that was my intention. Let them get whatever they need. So that's what I told this woman. I said, that's all it is. She's like, no, I can't talk to you. You can't touch me. Nope, you're going to have to go. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I says, any reason why? Oh, because I was watching the Catholic channel last night. And he told me, the priest on the TV was telling me, yeah, don't let those Reiki people touch you because they're bad. They have bad energy. They come from the devil. And if you let them touch you, you're going to go to hell. And I was like, well, then you have a nice day. God bless you. And I walked away. Because what was I going to do? What was I going to do? Argue? No. That woman had Reiki for 4 months. Nothing bad happened. If anything, she enjoyed my company for those 10 or 15 minutes. She always said she felt relaxed. But because of this one voice, put the fear in her, and that was it. She was done. To me, that's not religious. That's not spiritual. And I don't care if it was Catholic or anybody else for that matter. It was not kind. It was not loving. So, that's my thoughts. That's my impression. Those are my experiences. Again, find your own. Check out every religion out there if you want. There's so many. So many. And if it fits with you, fine. If it doesn't, keep going. And if you just want to be, I'll say the homebody, the person who doesn't go to a church, but has your own spiritual beliefs, then by all means do that. Because to me, it's, again, not religion. It's here. It's the heart. It's the caring, kind, compassionate, empathetic person that is just there for everybody else, you know? And just be kind. Be good to one another. Be open. That's really what I think it's all about. But again, your choice is yours. So, find what connects with you. If it doesn't connect with you, let it go. And let go of the drama or trauma or whatever has been instilled into your head that you don't agree with anymore. And know that it's okay to move forward and do whatever you want. I mean, think about it this way. One last tidbit for you. Somebody decides to be a Catholic, right? As a child, you're being raised Catholic. Then you reach a certain age, like you're in your 20s, and you go, this doesn't sit with me. I'm going to jump over to the Protestant side. Now you believe everything they tell you. Oh, okay, this makes much more sense to me. Okay, great. But then as you get into it even more, you start hearing things, well, that doesn't connect with me. Oh, that doesn't connect with me either. Okay, let me try this church. Now maybe it's, let's say you go to a Unitarian church, okay, where they're open to anything and everything, and you go, oh my God, I found my home. Do you think God's going, oh, he or she is jumping to too many churches, they're not where they're supposed to be, No, I don't believe so. I believe you have to find what works for you. So I want you to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed our little talk. Next month, October of 2024, my next talk will be about relationships when they go bad. And I don't mean just romantic. It can be friendship, family, romance, whatever it is, marriages, what to do when relationships go bad. So, but for now, let's think about the self-spiritual space, religious space, spiritual space, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want it to be. Find yourself first. And hopefully I will see you again next month when I bring on the relationships. All right, everybody, you have a great one. It's been great talking to you. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.